when these guys reamed me so hard that I had to go and see a doctor, I thought that looks not very legit. And then I watched them and I thought, you know, Bushka, you're probably just being too skeptical. And they're very, very skilled players who are good at shooting things, particularly things that you can't generally see through. Hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and hope you're lucky enough indeed to be doing it too. I'm Bushka. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to check out a couple of really important things. One, do frames per second actually affect your rate of fire? Do they slow you down when you have a slower frames per second number, which is something that's been bandied about for a long time now. Number two, do extended quick draw mags in fact make your rate of fire quicker, as has been bandied about for quite some time now? And finally, we're going to check in on my mate, the Mark 14. And indeed, we're going to kill two birds with one stone there, because last patch, you might remember, I discovered that the Mark 14 in 10 round mode only on auto was in fact completely broken and fired at 0.05 of a second per round, which was kind of a lot, of kind of not much at all. It's in fact the lowest by a million zillion miles. And considering the fact that it's just a filthy AR with DMR with 61 base damage, well, that was pretty nuts. Let's break down some myths first and foremost. Let's get a baseline. This is just 3.51 seconds to fire 40 rounds of M416, right? At extreme frames, smooth setting. 3.51 seconds. We change that up to HDR and Ultra, just to get another baseline and make sure that nothing's going crazy there with the different levels. And again, 0.351 seconds to fire off the full 40 in the clip. So, fair enough. Ultra frames, you can imagine that might be so different. Let's take the frame rate down to low. And you can see immediately the difference in the graphics and in the actual frames per second. Like, you can feel this difference in the frames per second when you're moving around. Look at it, I mean, it's horrible. Sadly, for all those out there who would like it to be otherwise, it's still 3.51 seconds to get through a full 40 rounds in the clip. So, busted that myth. It's rubbish. The rate of fire is not adversely affected by the frames per second. It is the same regardless of whether you're high FPS or low FPS. Happy to see someone come up with something that proves it, but at the moment it's pretty straightforward for me. Let's now talk about the other big elephant in the room for me, and that is whether extended quick draw magazines do in fact make a gun fire faster. And that's very, very easy for me to check out. Very, very easy indeed. Now, first and foremost, we're going to check and see whether the DMR, otherwise known as the Mark 14, is still completely bugged to hell in terms of rate of fire. Okay, it is. Yeah, 0.53 of a second to fire off 10 rounds. That's 0.05 rate of fire per round. That's not what we're here for. We're here to find out whether the extended quick draw makes you fire quicker. So we're going to do a baseline for that, which is pretty simple, obviously. What we're going to do is put an extended mag, no quick draw attachment on it, into the Mark 14 and fire that off. 1.53 seconds for 20 rounds, okay? So it takes an extra second to fire 10 rounds. That makes absolutely no sense. None whatsoever. But anyway, here we go again. And then we swap that out for an extended quick draw magazine and we fire that off. And the time it takes is exactly the same as an extended magazine. Absolutely zero fluctuation between the two of them, sadly. In fact, I did some further testing with the M416 and I found that firing off the M416 in extended magazine mode was like, and I'm talking like such a small amount here, was actually a slower rate of fire than firing it in just standard, no extended mode, but not anywhere near enough to make it worthwhile worrying about. Like, we're talking without extended magazine, a rate of fire of 0.086, rounded up, rate of fire. That's how long it takes to fire one round, 0.086 seconds. And it was 0.087, like with the extended. So a bit of a, you know, a non sequitur. Not much. It's a non-starter for us, basically. You don't need to worry about that. But there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. It certainly is good to drop a few knowledge bombs every once in a while. And it's pretty important, I think, to keep the channel on track and make sure that we are, in fact, giving knowledge back to the community and the player base, because unless we're doing that, then, you know, there's plenty of other channels out there where there's people that just run around and talk like idiots and play long-winded streams, which is what I basically do. Love your work. Look, if there's anything else that you want tested out, let me know. Leave it in the comments section below. I really appreciate that. Make sure to spread the videos around. I know that this one is one that people have been asking me to do for so long. So many people have asked me about this, and it's really taken me a long time to get around to doing it, which is a bit of a crime because it is actually quite an easy thing for me to figure out. The other one that I'm doing at the moment is M416 versus Scar L. The problem I have with doing a whole video on it is I've not found any real difference between the two of them. And it's kind of like the difference in the rate of fire that I was just talking about there, where it's a non sequitur, where it really is nothing at all. It's quite interesting. The difference, even with the extended, with the stock in the M416, it's so small that going out of your way to get an M416 is kind of a complete and utter waste of time. The rate of fire on the two guns is exactly the same for all I can tell. The recoil when the two guns are base and flat with nothing on them is exactly the same. And the recoil, even when the M416 has the extended stock on it, the tactical stock on it, is marginal, like to the point where it's tiny percentage points. It's I'm not sure whether I'm going to do a video on it or if I'm just going to give an overall statement of what I found. Anyway, look after yourselves, and yeah, until next time, stay safe in the battlefield. Bye for now.